Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I will show you how to paint colorful shadows in watercolor. Hope you'll enjoy it and please watch my full video. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Art with Jayanta. Have you ever tried to paint shadows in watercolor and been disappointed with the result? I remember when I started painting I had problems with shadows. Sometimes it's Sometimes the color was totally wrong, the result looked muddy, or they just did not look convincing. So, how should you paint shade and shadows in watercolors? Painting lifelike and convincing shadows begin with a good understanding of how light, shade, and shadows work in the real world. Shadows are never just gray, and mixing the correct colors for shadows depends on the colors of the object and its surroundings. Shadows and the light that creates them are what help us to perceive the world around us. Faithfully capturing light and shadow in watercolor painting is an important part of creating believable looking artwork. But don't worry, understanding and applying the basic rules about shadows is enough to give an impression of realism and improve your paintings dramatically. Shadows give depth and form to your paintings. Shadow shapes and the lightness or darkness of the shadow help provide a convincing sense of three-dimensional form. Shadows are also important for showing the direction of light in a sense. It's difficult to talk about shadows without also discussing light. When you paint objects from real life, you are interpreting light. If your interpretation of life is convincing, your shapes will create realistic looking forms. But in reality, you are just painting two-dimensional shapes of color and value, which create the illusion of depth and form. So, when you paint with watercolors, you need to be able to analyze where the light is coming from and how it affects the shapes and colors of light, shades, and shadow. The following is explanations of the basic principles of shadows. It may seem academic and a bit pompous, but once you have a grasp of these ideas, it can really make a difference to how you observe a subject and break it down into easily identifiable parts. In order to depict realistic looking shadows, you need a basic understanding of how light and shadow works in the real world. For this, let's take the example of simple sphere light by a single source of light. There are two types of shadow in this sense. The first is cast shadow. This is the shadow projected into the ground by the sphere. The second is the form shadow, which is the shadow projected into the sphere itself, where the surface of the sphere turns away from light source. The shape of shadows depends on the direction of light in the scene. The way a scene is lit can generate interest and dramatic impact. This is often an important element of good artwork. Finally, the color of shadows you paint depend on the colors of the objects and the lighting in the scene. The watercolor mixing the rich colors for good looking shadows can sometimes be tricky. It's not just a matter of adding gray. Cast shadows, form shadows, shadow shapes, and colors are the four basic elements to shadow painting. There are a few rules that artists use to help determine how to depict each of these shadow elements. Making good use of these rules can bring a new level of interest to your artwork. Keep practicing and hope you can understand and you can try yourself at home. And if you like my video, please subscribe my channel and keep watching. Thank you. My video, hope you enjoy it, and if you like my video, please subscribe my channel.